Victor Infante is the content editor for Worcester magazine. He will tell his story of a lost ferret and a father-son neighbors who had, I guess, an unofficial search party. Welcome to the stage, Victor. And if I know Victor, he's not an on the stand type of guy.
Actually, I am actually. I'm Italian. I talk with my hands. So this is the story of the great ferret escape of 2019. For the entirety of my wife's relationship, which is more than 20 years now, we've owned ferrets. Why ferrets? They're cute, they're funny, they're smart, they're playful. They're great, we love them, but they're also the Houdinis of the domestic pet world. We've learned this the hard way a couple times. More than once, we've had one make it out of the area and try to make a break for it, maybe to the hallway, maybe out to the back patio. Once one got to a neighbor's house, but we found her right away. Then, fast forward to 2019. At this point, we own 2 ferrets. Cisco, whom I refer to as my dog. Mostly because, as ferrets go, he's huge. Also, he's like a golden retriever trapped inside a ferret's body. He follows me around and he pouts when I'm left the living room. They're contained to the living room where they are now. They have their big cage, and there's a ferret gate that they can't pass by, theoretically. And it's cool. The other one is Letty. Letty is smaller. They're about the same age, but she's female. She's very fierce. She's very independent. She's affectionate, but she makes it pretty clear that everybody else that lives in that house is a servant, including us. So, Cisco, Letty, we're used to them. Most mornings, I would get up in the morning, I would let them out of the cage, let them run around the living room and tire themselves out. You know, I'm sure we've all seen dogs and cats have the zoomies, especially when they're young. Those like zoom, zoom, zoom for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, for no particular reason except that it's fun. Ferrets are like that, but it's like 10 times as fast. So usually, by the time I've gotten any dishes done in the morning and made coffee and breakfast, and we come back to hang out with them, they're crashed out. So, and, it's not unsurprising for us to go back there and not see them for a little while. They're behind the bookcase or underneath the couch or something. So we weren't really alarmed when a little time had gone by and we hadn't seen them at all. I went to go start putting them away so I could get to work. Not finding them. Not behind the bookcase, not on top of the cage where the blankies are, not behind the couch, nowhere. And I'm starting to get a little edgy now. And then I look and I notice that the fan on the air conditioner had been pushed back. Now, no ferret we've ever had has done this before. And we live on the second floor of a triple-decker in Worcester, and you kind of probably have an idea of just how high that window is. So it's a good at least 15 feet or more down to the lawn. So I run down to the lawn. I look to see if I can find them. I noticed 2 things instantly. One is a hornet's nest on the ground right below that window. And the hornets are mad as heck about something. I don't have time to deal with that because I find Cisco in the middle of the lawn, spread out like this, on all fours, looking up at the sky like, this is the biggest room I have ever seen. This is amazing. So I scoop up Cisco, run him up the stairs, hand him to Leah, my wife, and go back down to look for Letty, and I'm not seeing her anywhere. So I'm calling, I'm shaking the treat can, I'm doing everything I can think of to find her. I'm looking under the bushes. She couldn't have gotten that far. I mean, it's just small, but she also could hide just about anywhere, so I have no idea where to look. So I start looking, and one of my neighbors, a younger guy, was washing his car out front, and he goes, hey, what's up? And I don't know this guy really. I've talked to him maybe in passing when we're putting out the trash or something. I'm one of those guys, I don't talk to my neighbors that much. I'm usually kind of a hermit when I'm at home. But, I go, hey, I'm missing my ferret is missing. She's about, about that big. She kind of looks like a cute weasel and like a slinky. And she's, hey, yeah, my roommate saw a ferret this morning. I'm like, really? He's like, yeah, he took a video of it and he sent it to me. I'm like, awesome. Do you know which way it went? No. Okay. Can you send me the video? That might help. And I give my email address, and I never actually saw that video. But, something to go by. I run upstairs, I email my work and say, hey, I'm taking a personal day, missing pet. Thankfully, my boss is very, very forgiving. Hi, Nancy. And I run down, I go, get into it and go start the next wave of the search, and nothing happens. I go up and down the street now, up and down the block, nothing. Circle the house, nothing. And then, this is kind of where I stopped losing reason, because my attention started fixating on that hornet's nest. And somehow, I got it into my head that my pound-and-a-half female ferret, who is indeed fearless, has crawled down into that hornet's nest, and that's why they're so stirred up. And without really putting any thought to it, I go and grab a shovel, and I start digging up that hornet's nest, and they're going crazy, and I'm getting stung all over my arms, and my wife and my upstairs neighbor Gary come down, and they're getting stung, and they're backing the heck away because they're smarter than I am. And this is how I learned I'm not allergic to hornets. Finally, my wife manages to calm me down by, shout me down and make me stop, because there is no way on earth she is down there. And I just dropped the shovel, and for a minute at least, I'm defeated. I have no idea what to do now. So I go upstairs. It's been a couple hours at this point. I try to put some food in myself and start making some calls, see what I can do. I call the Worcester Animal Rescue League, and they're very nice, but if they haven't had any reports yet. I call Animal Control, and they're also very nice, but they haven't had any reports yet. Both promise to call me if something comes up. Then I do what everybody else does when they run out of options, and I posted her picture on Facebook. And I'm going to say this. Nobody was actually much like concrete help on helping us find our ferret, but that photo got shared like 12, 15 times. I had a couple hundred likes, about 50 to 100 comments, and I gotta say, the encouragement actually kind of gave me the strength to keep going. So yeah, there is actually a use for Facebook, which is nice. If nothing else, for moral support, it's a great thing to be there. My wife, being smarter than I am, as we have established, prints up a flyer, and it's got the picture of Letty, and then I post it, and it's got my phone number on it, and I go and I post them up and down the street, and I continue looking for a while longer, and nothing. So I go back upstairs. In the meantime, we check back in on Cisco. Now Cisco, when I handed Cisco to Leah, the first thing she did was put him back on the ground because she was doing something, and he tried to get out the window again. Because evidently this was the best thing that had ever happened to him. So what I do at this point is I call my vet, Dr. Sawyer at Paw Steps in Northbridge. And he tells me two really important facts. One, ferrets are not cats. There is no way on earth they should be able to jump to the ground from a window, a second-story window, and be fine. Should not happen. Cisco is fine. So we have no idea at this point what's happened. Second, he reminds me that, no matter what, there's no way on earth she crawled into that hornet's nest. But what's probably happened is she probably sniffed at it, got stung, and bolted the opposite direction. So, okay, that gives me some hope. I go down, I put up flyers, go looking around some, nothing, get nowhere, come back up, sit down on the couch for a while. At this point, it's hours have gone by. I'm, having dinner and not really hungry, but whatever. And my phone rings, and I don't recognize the number. And I'm like, hello? And it's a robocall trying to sell me insurance. I'm just deflated at this point. just like so distraught, you know. But then the phone rings again, and I'm wary this time. I'm like, hello? And he's like, hey, did you put up the picture of the ferret? And I'm like, yeah. Did you see her? He's like, yeah, I was walking my dog down the street, and my dog saw it on the corner and was really interested in it. And I didn't think much of it, but then a few minutes later, I saw your flyer, and I'm like, oh, great. So he tells me where the corner was. And I'm like, when was this? Oh, just a couple minutes ago. So I grab a flyer, run downstairs. The corner is literally 2 doors down from me. I've been searching all days up the block. This corner is literally 2 doors down from me. I go and I hit every doorbell on that triple decker. Nobody is home. Or if they're home, they're not answering. At this point, I don't know what to do. I look at the bushes from the sidewalk, nothing. I can't find anything. So the only thing I'm left at, really, honestly, is low-grade trespassing. Which, of course, I do. So I look to make sure nobody's watching, and I kind of go into the yard, around the side, looking under the bushes all the way through. I'm being followed this whole time by this orange cat. And I gotta say, I'm actually kind of happy for the cat's company at this point. It's like, so I go around and nothing happens. I can't find anything. I'm back out on the sidewalk. I'm back to where I started, looking in the bushes again. I feel like I'm repeating myself over and over again. And then a guy who lives in the apartment building comes home, him and his son. And the guy is looking at me like, what the heck are you doing? And I show him the flyer, and I'm like explaining my ferret's missing. She was seen, on this corner in front of this house. And he's like, oh yeah, my son saw her this morning. I'm like, really? And the kid's like, wow, yeah, he had never seen one before. It was really cool. And it's like, so this morning. He's like, yeah, he tells me what time. It's like, she has been there in this lawn the entire day. It is very clear at this point. So I asked the kid's permission to continue poking through the bushes, and I'm still not finding anything. And eventually, as I'm digging through the bushes, I notice the cat is behind me. And the cat's eyesight is laser focused on one point in the bush. So I dig a little deeper back into that bush, and there's Lenny, looking up at me like, oh good, my Uber's here. So I scoop her up, and I go and I thank the dad and the son, and I hold Lenny up, and it's like, you can pet her. She doesn't bite, at all. Actually, she's very good. So the kid's like, got the 2-finger petting her head, kids do when they're really sensitive about something. It's really adorable. The kid, this is the first time he'd ever encountered a ferret, so it's really cool for him. I'm happy just to have her at this point. So I go take her back, and she is maddeningly fine. Nothing wrong with it. 2 things. The next day, her face explodes in hives. Other than this, she does not seem disturbed at all. She's running around, she's eating, she's playing with the other ferrets, nothing. I call Dr. Sawyer. We discuss it, he's like, she's fine. I'm like, yeah. It's like, aside from these, he's like, well, she probably got stung some, but she seems to be doing okay. And I'm like, yeah. It's like, well, let's give it a day and see what happens. By the next day, they had already started going away. By 2 or 3 days later, they were gone. She acted like nothing had happened. What I did figure out, though, after opening the window, we had taken the air conditioner out, of course. But went and opened the window and looked down, and there was what may have been little scratch marks. And as far as we can tell, as far as we can deduce, the ferrets climbed out the window, kind of rappelled down to a nearby tree, which was kind of cat-a-corner, and crawled down the branches from there, landing on the hornet's nest, which disturbed them and sent Lenny running. I have no idea how true that is or not. I do not know if our ferrets are really Mission Impossible worthy, but they seem pretty close. All I know is, for a guy who's actually not all that close to his neighbors, I was really happy for them when they showed up. Thanks.